let's kind of dig into it. And of course, the Platinum Heritage Auction is one of those signature auctions where they got the big boy books. And I feel like I just wanted to start with this one right here. I think this is like, I don't know if it's funny or if it's like sad or like how you want to classify it. But I want to talk about the Ultimate Fallout 4, the Djurjevic variant. Here's the blue label, sold for $43,200, a huge number by itself. So we can talk about that. But then you have back-to-back lots, which was this one, same book, 9.8 white pages, but signed by Bendis, that went for $10,000 less.
And it sold first.
Yeah, and it sold first, which is usually the flip of how that goes. Like usually the big ones first.
Right. So that's super interesting. So, I guess, Ryan, what do you think about this? You made a little Instagram post. And,
I made an Instagram post with more comments than almost any post I've had in a while. And people were interested in that one. And it's one of those things, like everybody has a thought on why. And a lot of times I feel like it's people are trying to defend a book, like they want it to be something. And I mean, honestly, like I personally feel like this, like that 43,000 price, I don't buy it. I mean, I think that price is elevated. I don't think, like, I mean, look at that thing. This book was, and for anybody that disagrees, that's fine. Everybody gets their own opinion on this stuff. But I mean, we saw this with so many books. You had AF-15 and Hulk 1 and X-Men 1 and everything goes up, comes back down. And everybody's like, no, this one will be different. Yeah. And this one, like, this was a $2,000 book like 3 years ago.
Right.
I mean, 2020.
Like you go back to 2020 here. Yeah. 2,600 sold price.
Yeah. I mean, and so being up almost like 20x, like, come on, like that's a little crazy. Like I could see it pulling, like, I don't think it's going all the way back there, but like into the low 20s, I could easily see this thing coming back to, because look at how many copies there are out there. There's like 150 or something, or 166 9/8. So for 9/8, I'm talking about 66 9/8,
yeah.
And a majority of those were sold prior to these big copies, meaning most people are into this book about $2,000 or less. And so if you see that book is selling for 40,000-50,000 or something like that, you're going to be like, yes, I will list that book for sale.
Totally. What do you think, Drew?
Well, one of my point there that I was going to hop in with is just, when was the last time there was a big auction like this that didn't have a copy of it?
I think most Comic Connect, and I don't know about Comic Link, but I feel like Comic Connect has had them on most of theirs.
I feel like these pop up at the same regularity as AF-15s, definitely 181s, maybe not quite as much, but I mean, I can't remember a recent auction where there wasn't an example of this book that's up for sale. And I think that's just, to your guys' point, everybody has these. Everybody that wants one of these has these. But the comment that really stuck with me, Ryan, I don't know if it was your Instagram post or commentary I was reading other places. I guess there's a lot of hate in the world for Brian Michael Bendis' signature. Apparently, like people were talking about the color. I don't know. I've seen some signatures, but I mean, hell, he signed it in black pen. You can hardly even tell it's there.
You barely even know it's there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like that. Well, that's a good question. So because I want to go back to this book being inflated, but let's talk about the signature price difference. Like, do you think that this is a situation where it's because it's like a Bendis signature? Like, do you think if Djurjevic's signature was on something like this, or let's say there was like an AF-15 with a Stan Lee sig, do you think that like a Stan Lee sig would always sell for more?
They always. I mean, I don't know if I've ever come across a case where it's like a back-to-back where it doesn't.
Right. Do you think that this is just a Bendis situation, or do you think it's also maybe exclusive? Like, would it be anyone outside of Stan Lee or like Todd McFarlane maybe?
The tough part is to say, like, it's $10,000. You know, it's like that is a third of the value of the book. If that is how like iffy the value is on that book, that a signature series is going to drop the price $10,000, that does not give me confidence in that book. I mean, like, keep the signature all you want, but that's $10,000.
Yeah, right.
I think the high level here is that whoever bought this signature series made the better purchase of the two.
I would agree.
In
Totally.
my opinion,
Totally.
because that blue label just got dumb. And it's not like Bendis's signature is out there like a lot of people. I don't see him at a lot of cons, especially since he's had health problems in the last few years. So it's not a, it's not like he was Stan Lee, who spent the last 15 years of his life just signing anything that somebody sat in front of him,
Right.
which sadly was his reality. So I don't understand what happened. It's really just crazy, but I have to agree.
And it's not that I am not hating on modern books or variants or anything. Like, I think that ASM 667 is awesome. That sold earlier in this auction. It was actually kind of like a little lower. It was like 37 or something in this one.
I'll bring that one up later. Yeah.
But I like that stuff. I think it's cool. But I like to try to give my honest opinion on to people when I'm like warning about like something has a warning sign. And yeah, maybe this book goes up. Maybe it does continue to go up. That's fine. But to me, the downside risk is way higher than the upside potential on this one, and that's the concerning part with this book for me.
I totally agree with you on that. And then just to reiterate for Mark here, what he was asking about with the print run, it's 740 universal copies and 166 9.8s. And to put it into perspective, this is a book that just sold for 43,000. And, in the same auction for that number at a 9.8, you can get a Punisher for lost control. You can get a Punisher for 31,000. This is now where this book has sort of corrected to. And census wise for this, it's going to be comparable at the 9.8, around like 160 or whatever it is, and probably comparable, like maybe not universal, but like, let's just say all the Miles books versus all the Punisher books. And then similarly, like you get a giant size X-Men 1 selling for this. And the reason I bring up these, and also we'll talk about this 181, is it's like, these are the types of books that are 9.8 census comparable. And you just got to wonder, like, I mean, I guess you can maybe argue now that Miles is as popular as Punisher would be in theory, as far as like holders, but I don't know, the rate to which the book has grown, that's the scary part, right? Like that's
for me, that's what it really is. It's the acceleration in price.
And
is it sustainable?
It seems very concerning. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that in the time in which this book has blown up, we're in this sort of both comic book boom period and also Sony Into the Spider-Verse franchise, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know.
And that is an impressive number of tabs that you have open.
Yeah, I noticed that before.
We got a lot to talk about that. We got a lot to talk about.
Like, how do you even know what each one of those is?
I don't.
Click it and find out.
I'm shooting from the hip here.
It's a blind bag.
But what do you? I mean, I guess that's the thing. I mean, and again, with books like this, they're even these 9.8s have pulled back pretty hard, but I think
I think that one got up to 55 or 57 or something.
But we're now seeing like a couple more consistent for like this type of number around, and it feels
like Giant Size X-Men 1 really, it does seem like it's kind of like around the 30 mark now. Like that's where you're getting quite a few sales in that range.
And a 50-year-old 9.8, I feel a lot better around for this price point. It just I couldn't bring myself to spend $2,000 on that variant 3 years ago, let alone 30,000-40,000 now. It's just I need more history before I'm gonna come out of pocket for that level of a book. And I guess there are just players out there who are comfortable with rolling the dice. But
I mean, if money's no object, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter if you can afford to lose that. But if you're going to be really, really upset if that book goes from 40,000 down to like 15 or 20 or something, probably would not recommend picking that one up.
You have four, or sorry, Mick, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, it feels like, maybe just sort of back to what you're getting at, Ryan, where, so many people who have the book are in it for, at max, they're in it for whatever, like $3-4 grand, right? So like, how can you not be incentivized to sell when you see the price hitting 40 back to back to back? And then I saw one on the Grails consignment page, I think, that sold for like 38, like the day after or yesterday or something. So
it did sell.
I think it did, yeah. And so
it was a DM sell, but like, so you don't really know for sure what it sold for.
Right. That's true.
But yeah.
But you know, I mean, if they keep coming to market, it's the question is like, you know, will it continue to sustain? And it's kind of sketchy when you look at that chart.
That's my thing with Ultimate Fallout 4, like in particular. We haven't had that major moment, you know. I mean, yeah, we've had the animated movies, they've done well, there's video games. We haven't had that Hall H reveal of Miles, you know, the event that's kind of got everybody to where it's like, okay, now it's time to release the Kraken. We're unloading all of our Ultimate Fallout 4s into the market. I just feel like, I mean, obviously it's not going to go to zero, but there's going to be a tidal wave of UF4s, whether it's the first print, either the second prints, this thing. I just feel like everybody is waiting in the wings, except for those people who might get a little, you know, motivated when they see these stupid numbers for that variant. But I mean, even last year, I was seeing posts where people were finding 60, 70, 80 copies of the second printings. So these books are still out there. And it's just,
I mean, I've seen sales on Instagram where that variant was raw. You know, I mean, it's not like they're all graded.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Swagglehaus Livestream. If you want to watch the full podcast, check out this link here. Also, if you want to support the channel and read a cool Lovecraftian pulp adventure, consider following the pre-launch page for my Kickstarter comic book, Sanity. Link in the description.